That sounds incredible. I mean, I think affordability of housing is a huge issue for everyone, and like houselessness is a huge issue.
I'm all for public housing, social housing, anything that gets more people to live in this beautiful place that I love.
You don't have to be homeless to know that housing is expensive, whether that's renting or buying, and prices are only getting higher. Now, this is not unique to Portland. It's a problem nationwide and one that contributes to a growing homeless crisis. Local experts believe that building more affordable housing will solve the problem. Two newly elected Portland City Councilors are looking at ways to do just that, including what's called social housing, also known as public housing. Here are Councilors Candace Avalos and Mitch Green on what exactly that means. They're the ones leading this effort.
I know it sounds like a big thing, right? But I think ultimately what social housing is about creating a different kind of housing that is publicly owned and permanently affordable and prioritizes people over profit.
So it has a few different names. Sometimes you'll hear it as mixed income public developments. You'll have it sometimes referred to as limited profit housing, but it's essentially this idea that the city or the public sector can underwrite the development of housing that will have a range of incomes.
Now, to make their point that social housing is a good option here in Portland, the councilors cite data from the Portland Democratic Socialists of America's Housing Work Group, a mouthful of a name. But they say half of all renters in Portland pay more than 30% of their income on rent, and 25% of all renters pay more than half of their income on rent.
I've lived in this neighborhood for 15 years and have like cheap rent that I've held down, and I don't even know what I would do to live somewhere more expensive, which is like literally anywhere else.
If you can't afford housing, it's almost like you can't afford to live, period. Like if your housing is taking more than half of your income, how are you buying groceries? How are you buying gas?
But we really need that kind of cooperation from everyone in the city to make sure that we can actually keep this place an affordable place to live. And apparently, private supply side development isn't doing that.
So right now, most housing in Portland is dependent on private developers. And because of that, the pricing fluctuates with the market, meaning the city government has little say. Now, these councilors believe that social housing will give them more control.
So this is really about not replacing the open market, right? It's not that we're always going to need a private market for housing, but it's about shifting the percentage so that it's not 93% of our housing is dependent on private developers that ultimately are making decisions that are based on profits, right? They have to make their projects pencil. That makes sense as in general as a business owner, but when it comes to our responsibility for people to be housed, we can't make decisions based on just what pencils.
I see it as a catalyst for even more housing production. It works well alongside private developments. It's also not competing with the traditional affordable housing dollars that your community development corporations or nonprofits would use too.
All right, so what will this look like? Where will these affordable housing, social housing complexes be? Are we talking large apartment buildings, townhomes? Well, it's really too early to know those kinds of details. However, Councilor Avalos already has a focus of where she hopes this housing will go.
It's important to create mixed income neighborhoods, right? And so we would want to ensure that affordable housing is available in every neighborhood. It's not something that, if you're a rich neighborhood, you don't have a responsibility to have, communities that can't afford your $1 million home, but they deserve to enjoy the assets of your community too, right? And so this definitely would need to be distributed equally.
Now to another big question. Who will pay for it? Seeing as this would be publicly owned, I asked what the likelihood is of this falling on taxpayers.
If the crux of the question of is it the taxpayer that pays for it, I think we as a government, if you are paying your taxes and we cannot provide you a simple thing, which is a roof over your head, that is our responsibility, and that should be on the government's dime.
We already spent a lot of money on the cost of homelessness in the city of Portland, and so if we can use our tax dollars more efficiently to get people housed and get them before they're evicted in the first place, that actually saves the taxpayer money.
At this point, this resolution from Avalos and Green is only to study this type of housing model in Portland. If it passes, it would direct the city administrator to deliver a comprehensive report by May of next year. But the councilors expect to get that report much sooner.
I want to acknowledge that everyone in this town is weary of this sort of study, plan, cycle. But if we're going to do something transformational like this by ordinance, I want it to stand the test of time.
The councilors have asked the council president to put this resolution on next week's agenda. If that happens, the entire city council would vote on whether to begin this study, and we will be watching. All right, so what do you think about social housing in Portland? Is it a good idea? Why or why not? Let us know. Email us at thestory@kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail 503-226-5090. Or as always, you can hit us up on social media.